So, Jackie Williams, share a little bit about your background. And then today, you guys, it's stress and hormones. And this might be the key factor to why you're struggling with your health and to lose weight, right?
There you go. Absolutely. We're going to talk about all of that today. I think this is my second time here, so I'm
Yes.
not sure if you listened to my first presentation. We talked about happy hormones or something like that.
Yes.
And now we're going to zone in a little bit. I did talk about stress at that time, but now we're going to talk in a little further depth on that. And I'm a nurse practitioner, and my practice is innovative health. And I have a functional and integrative approach to the care of my patients for their chronic illness, for hormones, for weight, for fatigue, you name it. I do it all, and I have been doing it since I've been a nurse practitioner for 20 years, and continue to refine and try to get my practice to make my women and my men just as healthy as possible.
Love it. Love it. You are amazing. You guys, and let me just, before she gets started, because she is in the middle of clinic and has to get right back to work. So I'm going to stay on after she has gone back to work. But y'all, make sure you need a pencil, you need a piece of paper, because you need to take notes, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. All right. So no further ado. Chickadee, chicka boom, 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 boom. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah.
Let me see. I'm going to go to share my screen. And then we're going to go to screen.
Ah, you are sharing your screen, friend. You did it. Perfect.
And let me just start that.
Nice. Look at you all fancy and sophisticated with this slideshow. I love it.
Uh-oh.
Did you see it? Click the button all the way over to the left. It says from beginning. Maybe that one, or it's right underneath file.
There you go.
All right.
Can you see this?
Yes. It says breathe.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect.
And now you don't see me. You just see that, or you see both of me?
I see you and I see that. It's perfect.
And the screen is the biggest?
The screen is the biggest. Correct.
All right. Well, let's get started. So we're talking about stress today. So let's all take a big, deep breath and just release. Think about all the craziness of the morning and what we've been doing. And everyone take a big, deep breath in through your nose. I know I need it, and out through your mouth. So let's see. I'm going to read these off just to get, for those of you out there, to see whether or not you need to listen to this session on stress. Let's just see what we have. Let's see. Are you easily overwhelmed by everyday tasks that once were a breeze? Do you get angry over things that you never used to bother you? Have you gained weight around your middle? Are you experiencing difficulty with sleeping or staying asleep? Are you having problems with your concentration? Do you crave foods that you know you shouldn't eat? Are you having a lot of frequent little illnesses? Is your libido not what it used to be? Are you easily irritated by family members and by coworkers? Do you feel like you have no energy in the middle of the afternoon? Are you relying on coffee or chocolate to make it through the day, or alcohol to relieve stress? And how about aches and pains? Are they an issue for you? Those are all symptoms that you have more stress in your life right now than you really need. And so let's talk a little bit more about that. What really is stress? Stress is really, it's just this non-specific response from the body, and it doesn't matter what it is. It's your body's reaction to whatever bothers it. Simple definition: when your body has to respond to any demand for change. We'll talk a little bit more as we go along, because that's what life is all about, right? It's all about these changes and how we're going to adapt to these changes. And think about where we get the stress. Where do we get the stress today? It's everywhere. Even if we're up here, you look in the top, it says vacation. Even planning a vacation. When I go on vacation, it's like, you got to make the airplane flights. Who's going to take care of my dogs? Who's going to watch my house? By the time I get out the door and pack, I'm like, I don't even know if I want to go anymore. I'm so stressed out, right? How many of you out there don't have some of those same feelings, right? I know you do, Amy. You're a big traveler, and I know that is a big stressor for you. I know. That's what
yes.
Don't tell Amy about Amy, but that's the truth, okay?
Absolutely.
So I would say that life happens, and I do see this a lot with my patients, is their perception of the stress that they're under. Some people really feel like it is a negative impact to them, and other people really feel like they just go with the punches, and they just don't have that same stress responses I see from other patients. So like these kids, maybe they don't know how to swim, but they're making the best of it as they're in the water, right? And again, it's just a non-specific response to the body to any demand for change. If something is it your weight? Is it your job? Is it your relationship? When you have to change, that to your body is perceived by the organism that you live in as some type of stress. And it's really about, to me, I want you to concentrate on that idea of tolerance and acceptance and of compassion as we deal with the stress that we're under. Because it's really how you look at it. I want you to understand that we all have that ability to take the stress that's in our life and then transform it. Like taking a big global picture of what's going on in your life. And I love this for all of you out there. If you're struggling with stress, and I say this to my patients, I say, by the time you come here to my practice, you need someone to say, you have to take a big global look from out of this airplane window to see what's going on in my life. And am I able to do everything that I can do in my life? And maybe I can't, and maybe I need to stop this or learn how to say no. There's so many different things. So today, I want you to take a caveat home to take make some thoughts, do some self-introspection about where you are. Because the tragic or the humorous is a matter of perspective. So let's see what stress really looks like, digging deep into the root cause. And that's what I do with my practice. So I'm trying to figure out, for example, you have pain. Don't just take an Advil. Where's the pain coming from? I'm really sad. Well, why are you really sad? Digging deep within the root causes of stress and what's happening inside the body when you are actually stressed. How do you react to those stressors? First of all, I just want you to meet your adrenals, because that's where a lot of the hormones are made. And they're made here. And if you can see my pictures, there's a big round things in the middle are your kidneys, and above them are the highlighted yellow, and those are your adrenal glands. And those are some of the major stress organs that you see. Can you guys see them, Amy?
Yes, definitely.
So the outer shell, the cortex, the primary hormone of the adrenals, the outer shell, is DHEA. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And the second is cortisol. Inside the medulla part of the adrenals is where you have some of the neurotransmitters, is what they're called. There are stress hormones, norepinephrine and epinephrine. I'm going to show you where they'd come into effect in a little while. So it's really about the balance in the body. And you can see down here the DHEA and the cortisol, they need to be very much in balance. So cortisol, that's your stress hormone, and that's affected by sugar and fat. That's works like adrenaline when you're really scared. It's actually very anti-inflammatory, and it directs the immune system, whereas DHEA is also anti-aging. It's calming. It's really good for the brain. It's also an anti-stress hormone. A lot of times when you have a lot of stress in your body, you're going to see DHEA is like the rescue. So you've got cortisol's really high, your body automatically is pushing out lots of DHEA because it's calming and it's anti-aging and it's an anti-stress hormone. And if you guys have questions, let me know. Put up a little thing and I'll be happy.
Yeah, you guys, if you have a question, you can in the chat, just type it in, and you can also raise your hand as well on there. You can look at the bottom functionality and see that.
If you have a question, go ahead and call it out, read it out, because I'm not sure with my screen being this big that I can see those questions. So what you're going to see is there's some stages of cortisol and of stress that we all go through. So no one just gets stressed out. The body actually tries to adapt it along the way. The first stage is called that alarm stage. That is when, and I have a great slide coming up about it, but that involves those neurotransmitters we saw on the last page. Here we go. The norepinephrine and the epinephrine, those are the sympathetic nervous system that's coming out of line. That's when something really bad happens, and all of a sudden you have this great energy and you're ready to go, and you can run fast, you can do whatever you're like unstoppable. That's the alarm stage. And then your body tries to write that. That's too much. Your body doesn't like all that cortisol. So there becomes a resistance stage is next. That's where your body is trying to adapt to stress. That's where normal balances, hormones should be, where you can sustain everything. So stress reductions used to be much less frequency. So I think that I might have said this in my last one, but I'm thinking that it was at Johns Hopkins University. They said that we have more stress now in 1 month than our forefathers had in their entire lifetime.
Wow.
We are constantly being bombarded from so many different aspects. That's us as adults. It's our kids today. And it comes from all types of different venues. So again, we talked about the alarm stage, that first initial stage, the resistance stage, and the exhaustion stage. That's when we just can't make the hormones. Good things have gone bad, and you are just, like it says, totally burned out. And this is a great slide. This slide is awesome. Take a look at this slide, because you're going to see here that the red stage, you see what it's called up here? The stage 1 is when you're in that fight and fright. And guess what it's called? Stage 1, the Superman stage. That's when I told you, when I see someone like this, they're never tired. They don't want to sleep. They've got so much energy. Sometimes I worry about my husband being in the stage. So he works out in the morning, has breakfast, outside all day. And I'm like, dude, are you not getting tired at all? I mean, and then sometimes you see the stage 2, and that's when you're sometimes cranky, sometimes you're fine, sometimes you're cranky, and you can see from here it starts up high, goes low, goes back high again, and then low again. And stage 3, which is very worrisome when I see it on my patients, this is when you're low and flat. And see the blue one at the very end is low and flat. And this is called the diurnal cortisol curve. And this, quite honestly, is a gold standard on how to look at stress right now in the literature, where you just don't look at the morning cortisol. You look at it, what happens throughout the day, to get a true picture of where you are, because you're using different herbs and different strategies depending on where you are. I can say that a patient that comes into my office and has that low down and out stage takes about 1.5 years to fix that. It's a long time. So you really have, when you're getting down like that, you've been there for a long time, and this is definitely a problem with the one I see in my patients. So has anyone heard of the HPA axis? And that is what we also talk about when we're learning about stress. And that's the understanding that the stress response is working in several different places in the body. When I do my practice, I'm trying to find the balance. So you can see the brain, that's the beginning, that's the hypothalamus, and that's one of the signaling centers that's very much involved in the stress response. There's one that's called the hippocampal area of the brain that has more receptors for DHEA than any other place in the entire body. So you can see that DHEA, which we talked about initially, is a very important stress hormone because it's calming to the brain and to the stress response. And then you can see that it goes to the pituitary gland, which is also up in the brain. You can see it in the guy's head, a little gland up there. And that's basically the control center. It's dishing out where the hormones go. And then we're going down to the adrenals that we talked a little bit about before, where you have the cortisol, the DHEA, and some of the epinephrine and the norepinephrine that we see. So the brain commands the adrenals speak to the body. So there's this feedback loop that's going on constantly with every thought that we have. So when things go bad, we need more help. We're trying to, some of the things that we see is that it reduces thyroid function. So before I asked you one of the questions, have you gained weight around your middle? Are you more tired than usual? You can see that's not only a problem that happens with the stress response, that's happening in the thyroid too. So often you've got to take a look at what thyroid function is and what the effect of it is. One of the things that we see with a lot of high cortisol, when you're in that Superman type of a pattern, a lot of people say that they have heart palpitations, and that actually is coming from the thyroid because it's releasing a hormone called T3 that is definitely related to having some of these palpitations that we see. And also we have reduced antibody production. So a lot of times we're getting more sick. That was another question. Are you getting sick more often? Because the immune system is definitely affected. It increases the blood sugar. So I'll show you a little bit about what happens to the blood sugar as we are under the forces of stress. And again, it's that blood sugar issue that increases the body fat. And you also see issues with bones. As women, we're very cautious as we age that we keep our bones strong. And what we see is there's a breakdown of bone for calcium. So let's again look at the root cause to explain the trait. So the root cause is you have prolonged storage of fat, blood sugar imbalances, loss of muscles, problems with the thyroid and the bone and your immunity. What happens? What do we see? Overweight kids and adults. We see metabolic syndrome, we see diabetes, we see weight gain, injury, fatigue, longevity, hormone imbalances, bone disease, and we get sick a lot easier. So we need body health, we need adrenal health, and we need mental health to get to the basics and the bottom of the problem. What are our potential sources of our stress? And I think we can all identify them, but some things that I really talk to my patients are about is sleep, our mind, our immune, and what we do with our sugar. So sleep, there's no doubt we're trying to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. We're trying to really get relaxed before we go to sleep. So I know that we're both using some apps and making some recommendations for breath work, for meditation, or some type of a Reiki practice, something that helps to bring calming back in our crazy lives that we have. A good thing that I tell my patients, write down your to-do list so you don't wake up in the middle of the night to say, don't forget to do this. As a matter of fact, I will definitely tell you last night, one of the last things I did, I said, okay, what do I need to get ready for my talk today with Amy? Because I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night and say, did I get my slides in order? Did I take out the ones I wanted? So I was ready to go, and guess what? I shut my eyes at 10 o'clock and I woke up at 6:15.
Good for you.
Yeah. So food is information. Food is a stressor. And I know Amy has talked to you about this so many times, but she's totally on board with this. It's so important. Everyone's different, and granted, eating something for breakfast, more fruits and veggies, more proteins with each meal, having some good fats, the healthy fats. And I'm not even going to go into that because I know Amy's can handle that for you. But I think that is something that is very important because a poor diet is a major stress to the body. There's no doubt about it. So you can see the list of things that we all know we should try to limit: caffeine, fried, sugar, refined foods. I did some genetic testing that I loved, and it said that the best way for me to lose weight is not to eat any refined carbs. So I was like, oh no, that's not exactly what I wanted to hear. And it told me the best way for me to lose weight was to eat these really healthy plant-based fats. So I'm going to try and let you know. Next time you see me, if I'm really skinny, you'll know. And of course, there's a right balance between physical exercise and stress as well. It's going to be very important. So how you think and how you feel is something that's important for you to understand the stress that you're under, for you to take a list of where your stressors are and what you can do about them. If you ask what the single most important key to longevity, I would say it is to avoid worry, stress, and tension. If you didn't ask me, I just have to say it. I love that line. That's by George Burns. I would like to say a few things about the hormones, the sex hormones, and what happens. So one of the things that we see is that estradiol, or estrogens, that are high in perimenopause, in PCOS, in menopause, if you have a lot of adipose tissue, one of the things that you will see is you're going to see those same blood sugar regulations. And again, I want you to draw that balance issue. So stress causes blood sugar regulation issues, insulin resistance, which then causes estrogen to be able to become dominant. And I know we've talked about that, about the causes and the symptoms of estrogen dominance: weight gain, belly fat, fatigue, moodiness, all of those things. So you can see that's one thing. Testosterone, which is very important, men and women, but since we're talking primarily to women here today, that low testosterone to me is epidemic in women. We have so it gets getting lower. The labs keep getting lower instead of better. And I think that what we're seeing is there's no doubt that a high cortisol pattern is going to depress your testosterone. And I always explain this by saying, I'm going to be a little philosophical. If you have a lot of stress, your body doesn't understand if that stress is coming from an upcoming World War III or a deep famine or a huge virus. It's the same exact hormone in the body. And your body, maybe it's saying to itself, the very last thing we need to do right now, Jackie, is have sex. So your testosterone is depressed because of that. And until we revisit the idea of what's causing the stress, you're going to have that low testosterone. And let's see, progesterone again is very important, and that's one of the basic hormones. So if low progesterone, if you look at a hormone pathway, progesterone is considered one of the mother hormones. In other words, all of our sex hormones flow through the hormones and come from progesterone. So when we have lower progesterone, as I often see in my perimenopausal women and my menopausal women, then you're also affecting your own hormones like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, all of them, because you're not making the precursor to the hormones.
So Jackie, are you through with if you're through with your slideshow, maybe do stop share so we can see you bigger. Ah, better. That's a lot of information. That's great.
I hope that wasn't too much.
No, not at all. And I don't want to stop you. I know your time. And did you have more you want to say, or do you want to open it up for questions?
Let's open it up for questions.
Okay, ladies, I know you have questions. This is your opportunity to ask a functional practitioner while she's sitting right here, and she cares. So I want one of you to be brave enough to hop on and ask your question. You can unmute yourself and ask your questions. Jackie, and while you're unmuting yourself, who wants to go? Dawn, do you want to go ahead and ask her a question while you're here? And y'all may not be able to. You may be at lunch or at your desk, and you may not be able to unmute yourself. There's Dawn. Hey, girl.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I don't really know how to ask my question. Okay, so if I've had a lot of testing done in the past, is it beneficial to maybe bring those test results to like you as a new physician so you can see the past results, or really just go off of kind of now?
I'd love to see where you were, because it helps me to know where you might be. So in other words, like maybe if you had some cortisol testing in the past and you had this Superman type of a pattern and you're really tired, and what we know is that everyone goes high before they go low, and so it helps to really, for me to understand, where you might be. Previous testing, whether it's blood testing or any kind of functional testing, I'd love to take a look at that at my visit.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Yes.
Anybody else? And while somebody else might be coming on and popping on, what I'd like to do is just, Jackie, how can they reach out to you? How can people reach out to you? Because you can do online, you can do some stuff online, even if they're not local to our area. Am I correct?
Absolutely. The easiest way, if you really want to chat with me and do any kind of teleconference, you can come into my office, or you can reach out to me via my website. And it's simple. My website is easy. It's just IH, like Innovative Health, IH.life, L-I-F-E. And right there, you can send me a message. You can get in contact with me right through my website. And you'll also learn a lot more about me, because I've got tells everything that I do in my practice and my philosophy for my patients and what a visit is like. IH.life, not com.
Okay, so www.ih.life, and that's it.
Yep.
Okay, that's awesome.
Okay.
All right. Well, girl, I know you. It may be your time. I'm looking. It's 25 after. So do you need to go see your patients?
Well, I thank you so much for letting me come today and speak with you. And I'm happy to speak with anything else you guys want to talk about. Just let me know. I love to talk about things important to women and do so all the time. And just let me know. I'm here for you.
Awesome. We had one question come through. Can we ask it real quick before you head off? Okay. Brandy says, this is a weird question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I had a total hysterectomy about 9 years ago. However, I still have PMS symptoms along with my daughter. She has a high school daughter. Is that normal?
I bet you that you have some estrogen dominance is what I'm thinking. I think that you have some hormonal changes that you're not aware of, and I will go about it from that angle. What do your hormones look like today? And then will tell us a lot. If we look at testosterone, the different estrogens, DHEA, testosterone, cortisol, all of those.
Wow. Okay. And she might need to come see you to figure. Now, can you go to your, like, go into your OBGYN for your yearly visit, right?
Mhm.
You're not going to get that type of information from them, right?
Well, I would say that would be very true. I think that a functional gynecologist, you certainly do, but traditional, and even I don't want to say just gynecology. I have a huge women's health background, and to be honest with you, I really looked at my patients a lot different before I did functional medicine and trying to balance all the hormones, and was happy to write a prescription for some estrogen and send them on their way. Where now I'm really looking at all hormones and stress hormones and estrogen dominance and progesterone resistance and low testosterone, how to balance them back. It is a different viewpoint.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. So I would encourage you guys to reach out to Jackie. Like she said, she can do a teleconference with you. I trust her as my physician. My husband uses her as well. And this is who I recommend my people to go to because I know that she'll take good care of them. So yes. Well, Jackie, we appreciate you so much. I just really appreciate you taking time out for us.
Thank you so much, and I will be with you soon.
Okay.
Back-
Bye, Jackie.